Joining us right now, former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor and author, most recently of Vengeance, Newt Gingrich is here. Mr. Speaker, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's good to be with you, and as you point out, it's a busy, busy week.
Yeah, and, you know, it's an important week, right? Mr. Speaker, do you think the Senate gets the votes to pass this tax bill this week?
Probably, but if they do, it'll be by listening carefully to each senator, figuring out 3 or 4 amendments that finally get them the votes they need. But I think they've got a pretty good chance of getting to 50. You know, I think Mitch McConnell is trying all day to find one vote at a time the last couple of votes.
Yeah, but what about some of these real issues that they're talking about, the state and local deduction? Some people don't like the way the Senate is treating that. The pass-through. Are they going to have to make serious changes to this bill in order to get those votes?
Well, I think they've got to fix the pass-through because that directly affects small business. And I think that you've got, with Ron Johnson and Steve Daines, a real concern that the bill in its current form is unfair to small business. So my guess is that they will fix that. There are a couple of ways they could do it. And I think that they're in very serious negotiations to do that. I think the second question is over how do you handle the state and local tax deductibility. And there I'm not sure that there are enough votes. Remember, they're both looking at policy and vote count. They need to get to 50. If they get to 51, that's fine. If they get to 52, that's fine. But they have to get to 50, and whether or not that particular issue gets them there, I'm not sure.
Speaker Gingrich, Amy Holmes here. In the last hour, we spoke with Chris Hogan, a financial advisor and expert, about what the average taxpayer can see with the Republican reform. Will they see their paycheck increase significantly? Will this be a real boon to people who live paycheck to paycheck, middle-class families? And his answer was no. So my question to you, Speaker, is there a danger for Republicans that if they do get this passed, that voters aren't going to see an impact in their daily life, their daily finances, and say, hey, maybe the Democrats were right and this was a tax bill to benefit the rich?
I'm not sure what the basis for that analysis is. My understanding is the average middle-class family is going to have about a $200 a month increase in take-home pay. You're also going to have an increase in economic growth, which means better jobs, higher salaries, more opportunities. So I think the average American will be substantially better off with this tax bill. In addition, for about 95% of all Americans, they will no longer have to itemize, so they'll save all the money and time that they've spent up till now just getting the taxes done. So I think there's several ways in which average American families will be better off, and I don't understand his rationale that they won't feel. I think the average family, if they had $200 a month more in their take-home pay every month, would feel like that was a significant improvement.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. The average family is getting a tax cut, but there is a portion of the public that will get a tax increase as a way to pay for the corporate tax cut. But you do think that the corporate tax cut is going to be enough to actually move the needle on economic growth for everybody?
Yeah, I agree with there's a whole group of very distinguished economists who wrote a letter yesterday arguing that this could easily put economic growth above 4% on an annualized basis. If we had 3 or 4 or 5 years of 4% real growth, the impact that would have on federal resources, on our ability to get things done, the impact it would have on people's ability to get jobs, that would really be a tremendous move in the right direction. Remember, all this is coming in a context where you have deregulation underway, you have much tougher trade negotiations. The Chinese just agreed to lower their tariffs from 17% to 7% on a lot of American products. There are a lot of different things going on. I think Trump has a realistic chance of getting us to 4% real growth. That would be so dramatically better than the Obama years that it opens up all sorts of things.
Yeah, that's what everybody's talking about now, 4%. Look, let me switch gears. Newt, White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney is now taking charge of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, at least for now. He instructed the staff to ignore an email from Leandra English. She was promoted to deputy director by the Bureau's outgoing director. English, of course, is challenging Mulvaney's move in court. Where do you think this stands? What's the fate of the Consumer Protection Bureau?
Well, first of all, it tells you a little bit about the stupidity of the left. She had a recommendation from the CFPB's own counsel, I mean, their own lawyer, said the president has the right to name the replacement. So she's sitting there with her own lawyer telling her this is totally legal, you got no leg to stand on, and she's grandstanding. Now, ironically, I think what this will do is it will bring more attention to this. You know, if they'd been quiet, Mulvaney would have taken over. They eventually would have found a replacement. But by raising it to the level they're raising it to, they're getting all of us to pay attention. This was a playground for Elizabeth Warren and her left-wing, anti-capitalist, anti-free enterprise friends. It was a very abusive agency. It's an agency which did enormous damage. And I think it's a remarkable sign that Trump moved so decisively and is seizing control of what was an out-of-control agency. Mulvaney, I think, will only be there temporarily, but I think that it was important to cut off the left-wing Elizabeth Warren protege who would have otherwise been continuing down a road of destructive anti-business behavior.
I'll just point out, Newt, that people should read this Wall Street Journal editorial on this very issue, comparing Leander English to George Costanza in the Seinfeld episode where he fakes a disability and gets fired but won't leave. And they say Democrats pretend that the CFPB is its own branch of government, circumventing everything, including the Constitution.
By the way, yeah, you're right.
I thought Mulvaney was brilliant to show up with donuts and say, look, I'm here as a peacemaker. I mean, think about it. Symbolically, it couldn't have been better. And I think it took most of the poison out of the atmosphere.
Yeah, well.
So I think, you know, it'll all work out.
It's
but it's another
story.
example,
yeah.
Whether you're talking about EPA or other things, Trump is methodically rolling back the left, methodically rolling back the anti-business, anti-jobs, anti-free enterprise models, and achieving far more than anybody in the elite media wants to give him credit for.
Yeah, but it's also an example that they will stop him or try to stop him at every turn. It's incredible.
That's right. Every single day. It's, yeah.
There you go.
But they should. Look, Trump represents real change. And, of course, if you're the other team, you have every right to try to stop him.
Right.
They're just going to fail.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much. Newt
Good to see you.
Gingrich joining us there.
Thank
We
you.
will be